Ladies and gentlemen, you're about to hear from someone who turned comedy into survival. She's a cultural translator and relationship whisperer who's been truth-telling her way across stand-up specials, radio interviews, and writers' rooms. She is really the exemplary example of she's far more powerful. The comedy is far more powerful than any pill. Today, she'll guide us through the messy intersections of life, love, and empathy, armed with her razor-sharp wit, warming honesty, and enough Latin fire to remind us that humanity isn't just shared. It's what binds us today on
Amen.
Off the Couch. And welcome to Off the Couch with Dr. Greg, because growth doesn't happen lying down. I'm Dr. Greg Case. I'm a psychologist.
I never actually heard that. I
think we
we're
changed
just
it
gonna,
up.
yeah, let's just skim over that.
We have, it's that bad. Well, maybe we will. This is producer Brian Gomez, but Brian is not able to work on a microphone or camera today. Our extra microphone and camera both don't work. But
Greg, the first rule of performing, the audience doesn't know what's
never
supposed to
never
happen.
mind. And
So
Tony
don't-
on the board.
Yeah, nobody cares. Like, to them, we're perfect, so let's just keep up the illusion.
Oh, well, I just broke it.
They don't know you have a run in your hose. Let's just go. I always tell people that the audience has no idea. So if you fudge a word or whatever, just keep going. They don't know.
You can tell my less than professional sometimes.
No, you're amazing.
But and we're here with Tony Sweet on the board. Hi, Tony.
Hey, how are you? Are you?
Very good. So today, let's welcome Monique Marvez. Yay! She's a Miami-born comedian, cultural translator, and fearless truth-teller.
That is all true.
She's known for her razor-sharp wit.
I don't know if that's what I'm known for, but I do possess that.
You do possess that.
Yeah.
What do you think you're known for?
I don't know. I think I'm known for having a voice like a man that people recognize in public. I have a very distinct voice.
Never once thought your voice sounded like a man. Never even once. That's
thank
a
you.
total surprise.
Thank you. I let's just say distinct. What's so weird, I always hated my voice, like when I would record answering machine messages and whatnot. And now I like it because it doesn't sound like anybody.
It sounds strong.
It is strong.
It has timbre. It's
Thank
robust.
you.
Yeah,
Thank
it's
you.
good. Yeah, perfect for radio too.
Thank you.
And she's in the streaming smash Dry Bar special, which is probably like 10 billion views by now.
It's so many. I actually had a forensic. There's people that can see how many views you get,
Yeah,
and her
yeah.
conservative estimate was that 250 million people have seen my clips.
Holy.
250.
Toledo.
Yeah, that's a lot of people.
Yeah, that's like
I'm
5
having a moment.
departments of education there. So, Monique, we're gonna start with a quiz. We're gonna do the "Which Monique Are You Today" quiz.
Oh, I love that.
So we're gonna do just 5 questions, because we
Let's do
usually
it.
do start with a quiz mainly for our audience, but today our audience can play along to see which Monique they are. It's Friday night. You are A, performing stand-up with a killer new bit about dating.
Mm-hmm.
B, curled up with a glass of wine, binge watching true crime.
Mm-hmm.
3, C, rallying your curfew. I think I just saw some balloons go up around me.
Yeah.
You're rallying your curfew for an impromptu karaoke night.
Mm-hmm.
And D, writing a heartfelt post that's equal parts funny and wise.
It's always going to be the first one,
Performing a stand-up routine with a killer new bit.
right? Because here's the deal: I don't drink at all.
Right.
So the thought of me home alone drinking wine, never going to happen in this lifetime.
Right.
B, I don't like crime shows because it's just once something's in your head. Like I watch Forensic Files in hotel rooms because sometimes they only get HLN, and on old TV sets you can't mirror. So when I'm in Vegas, I watch Forensic Files on forever because they're old. And this is what I tell my niece. What's the rule of Forensic Files? What? It was the husband. And then what was my third option? It's always the husband. It's just how they catch him. What was my third option?
I'm sorry. It's a third is rallying your crew.
Yeah, no.
Oh.
Yeah, I don't have a crew. I'm a lone ranger. And what was number 4?
Writing a heartfelt post that's equal
Yeah,
parts
no,
funny
I'm
and
a
wise.
complete itard. I've actually forced myself to get good at social media because social media has been so kind to me that I feel like I need to give it back love and to start to leverage all the love that it's showing me. But I am the worst at posting. Okay, so now you have
Right on. Good for you. Okay, so you're A, performing.
Okay.
Okay, so number 2, your spirit animal today is a jaguar, sleek, fast, and ready to pounce. B, an owl, quietly observing everyone's nonsense and wise. C, a parrot, talking, laughing, and spilling tea. And D, a dolphin, joyful, clever, and a little mischievous. I know you too well. I can tell you what you're definitely not.
Yeah. You do know me very well. And I'm torn between owl and dolphin.
You should
I'm
be
torn.
torn.
I'm
You
torn.
should be torn.
Because the only reason that I don't pick owl straight out the gate is because observing makes it seem like I'm not in the swim of things.
Yeah, you swim.
That's a dolphin pun. But I'm a swimmer. I'm in
You are
there.
a swimmer.
I'm in there.
But you do observe.
I am
You-
quite the observer.
You observe and you're wise. So
Thank you.
are an owl basically in flight.
Okay, fair enough. I like
There
that.
you
I
go.
like that. I'm like
And-
a barn owl. I'm a good owl.
But I do see you as, yes, a jaguar, definitely. Don't you see?
I'm a lot of animals.
And I see you as a dolphin, joyful, clever, and a
Totally.
little,
See, I feel
definitely.
dolphin-y, yeah. Do you remember? I know that
Yeah.
I'm supposed to get through the quiz so we
No,
can get on
no.
with the show. But one of my favorite songs, remember Wildfire? It was
Yeah.
such a hit when we were kids.
Feeling
Yeah. There's been a
wildfire.
hoot owl hanging by my window now for 6 nights in a row.
Oh,
Because in Indian lore, I heard the owl call my name. It means you're going to die. If an owl like whoo, like right at you, like ooh, you're done. But that's what he said. A hoot owl howling by my window for 6 nights in a row. He's coming for me.
Oh, it's
I
in
know.
Wildfire. All of a sudden, I was worried that owl was outside of your
Oh my
window.
gosh, no! I'm going to live to be so old.
Good.
Yeah, I'm going to have to hire a young hot guy to carry me around when I'm old because I refuse.
Why
a
not
cane.
just 4 so they can carry you in one of those chariot
Yeah, I'll be
things?
so Mae West
Yes.
with my athletes.
Oh, she's amazing, or was. Okay, number 3. What's your go-to superpower? This is a corny quiz. Turning pain into punchlines. B, spotting red flags from a mile away. C, making strangers feel like best friends. And D, dropping wisdom bombs no one saw coming. I want to answer this for you.
You answer it for me.
All of them.
Thank you. You know what I think my real superpower is,
What?
Dr. Greg? Love.
Yeah.
When I love people, it's like a tractor beam. Like it is my superpower. I've been told by other people like, wow, you really love me. And I'm like, a lot of people love you. They're like, not like you. Like when I love people, it's formidable. Sometimes I feel it's almost a burden. Because I love with such ferocity. Like it's proactive. It's not, to me, love is a verb.
Love is a verb.
Love is a
I
verb.
agree with that.
When people say, oh, I love you, well, what does that mean?
Yeah.
Like to me, it's like, I will hide a dead body, bro.
That is
It's
a
that
good-
kind of love.
That is a good kind of love.
Yeah.
Number 4, you're at a party and someone's being a buzzkill. You, A, roast them gently until everyone laughs. B, disappear like Houdini, poof. C, change the topic into something scandalously fun. Or D, take them aside and give them a pep talk that somehow changes their life. I feel like I need to answer this one too.
Okay, you answer
Okay,
it.
you're going to tell me
Please.
if I'm right. I'd say a combination of C and D because you're going to be both C, which is change the topic, so you're going to move it along and get them out of the mess, and you're going to D, be compassionate to them and take them aside and say, hey, dude, that didn't come across quite right.
It's funny you should say that. What I tend to do when I find people talking about things that make other people uncomfortable is that I ask them a question because that's disarming. I say, were you meaning to make the other people uncomfortable? Like, are you trying to make a point? Because I get that. Comedians make people uncomfortable.
Yeah.
I get that. Like, was that your intention? And then they look at me like, was I doing that? And I'm like, again, if that was the goal, cool. I get it. You're making a point. You got something on your mind. I go, but if it wasn't your intention, then you might want to, think about that topic before you bring it up in mixed company.
I will tell you, for me, that's the type of approach I would prefer. I actually want to know if I'm saying something that might be offensive to somebody. And
course.
if I don't think about that myself, I would appreciate feedback from somebody else, like being gentle about it.
Of
like,
course.
"Hey, dude, did you mean that?" That's why I
That's how it came across, Just so you know.
Yeah. Because you want to improve. I at least want to improve.
So do I.
Yeah. And number 5, your motto this week, just this week, is A, if it's not funny yet, it will be.
I like that.
I know. B,
Not me, but I like it.
B, I'm not just here so you won't get fined. So wait. I'm not just here so I won't get fined.
I don't even know that.
I can't, this is
Dismiss.
this is a mess. Okay, C, life's a party, dress accordingly. And D, growth is my favorite accessory.
Yeah, those are, I like Ginger Rogers did everything Fred Astaire did backwards on high heels. I'm
Yes.
gonna fill in the blank.
Let's
I'm gonna
say
write in my own.
that.
I'm gonna write in my own.
Yeah, because you do take the Ginger Rogers approach to life.
Absolutely.
You make it look effortless.
I do my level best.
You make other people look good. You make me look good.
You are.
you-
That's easy.
Well, and you are just an amazing partner in every way. So.
Thank you. I feel the same because here's what I'm going to tell you.
Yes.
You know how Taylor Swift calls it the eras?
Yeah.
Okay, well, I'm only mentor one person in comedy, and you've met her, my friend Suwan.
Uh-huh.
And it's because people
Who I
have asked
love.
me. She's wonderful.
Yeah.
People have asked me to mentor them in comedy, and I've said no, and they've said why, and I said because no matter how hard we work, you're going to suck. And I don't want you to tell people that you worked with Monique Marvez. I say it funny, but that's kind of
pretty funny.
That's kind of the point. I go like I think you're better at fill in the blank, make little YouTube shorts or blah blah blah. But comedy requires there's only 2 choices you get to make as an artist, and to me, comedy is a very high art form. Good stand up. I'm a purist. I'm not like stuff you put on YouTube. I'm talking about straight up stand up, Richard Pryor, Joan Rivers, not this hybrid, which I'm not putting down. It's another thing. But straight stand up, you have 2 choices, when to open the kimono and when to let it drop. If you're not willing to be naked and vulnerable on stage, you are wasting everyone's time. And one of the things that I appreciate about Suwan, which is the only person I mentor, is that she gets that. So today we were talking about eras.
Yeah.
I'm like, what era are you entering as an artist? I'm entering Monique Marvez's No Joke.
Yes.
That's the era I'm entering because I don't tell jokes. I tell the truth and wrap it in bacon so you'll eat it. I've been saying it forever.
Yes.
But as I dial down my writing to where the jokes are tighter and tighter and tighter, and they come from a volcanic foundation of every single joke in all of my acts and even my ad libs, I've got the joke, the punchline. I can tell you when the event occurred that created the joke. Comedy is tragedy plus time. I can tell you this happened and became this joke. Then I can tell you the frisson, like where it hurt, where the rub was in the event that eventually became the joke. Then I can tell you the thought that came before the feeling of discomfort that became the joke. And when you have that intentional, powerful foundation underneath a 15-second joke, it hits people like a tsunami. When I'm on stage, I've had people say, your act is like a wave of words. It just kept hitting me and making me laugh and laugh and think and laugh. And that's the gig for me. Like I'm not interested in how many people like my work. I'm interested in how much I like my work, how honest it is, how naked I'm willing to be. How if one person hears my material and says, hey, I was on my way to jump off the Coronado Bridge and I didn't. And that has happened to me.
That has happened.
That has happened to me. Done. That's the money. That's the money, Greg. Dr. Greg.
Well, I mean, it's incredible, the contribution. Brian and I went to see you recently at Flappers here in Burbank. And Brian said to me the minute your show was done, wow, that was deep.
Woo! Thank you, Brian. But you get it. It comes from literally the molten lava of childhood.
Yes.
Because that's what childhood is. It's unstable. We're being formed. We're molten. And a lot of hot stuff goes on in that lava.
A lot of hot stuff. And like you said, you take the truth and wrap it in bacon.
Correct.
And I guess a question for me is, because I don't think all comedians go that direction. Now, some
No.
very much do. And I really, they're the comedians I appreciate. They're the A-list, top-notch comedians, because you see the layers, like a George Carlin, that you're blown out of the water. Mm-hmm. And he's just genuinely funny.
He is.
But, it's still, and I don't know much about him personally. He doesn't come at it from a personal point. It's more observational, I suppose.
Right.
He was different in that way. But it still seemed like,
He's a phenomenologist. I say there's two types of comedians.
Oh, yeah.
And I think we've talked about this, but it bears repeating. It's been a
Yes.
minute. I say there's two types of comedians. Phenomenologists, Carlin, Seinfeld.
Yeah.
They're people that observe humanity
right.
and create amazing comedy based on what they've seen. Phenomenon. Then there's the other kind, which I don't have the name for. But it's the people that comedy save them because it is a defense mechanism. It is your suit of armor when the slings and arrow of life started coming at you young.
Yes.
When you live in a life with, this is how I describe my childhood. I had no margin of error. I had to get it right the first time. That's it. So read into that whatever you want, but comedy has always been it's my survival mechanism. It's my defense mechanism. It's how I ingratiate myself to people quickly, and that's what it is. And those people, the Richard Pryors, the Robin Williams, those people where comedy is an extension of their soul. It's not a
Yes.
job. It's
Yeah.
not something they write. It's not like, hey, it'd be fun to stand on stage behind a mic. That'd be cool. No, it's like, I have to do this to live.
Yes.
And that's me. I'm one of those.
It does make me wonder if there's a higher calling here, if there's a higher purpose. Are comedians put on this earth? Because somehow these people always seem to exist. People like Charlie Chaplin,
My idol, my personal idol.
that come into the world and really affect it in such a deep way and have such a long impact. And
Court jesters. He
Court
could tell the king
jesters.
anything without being killed.
yes,
Court jesters. Even in music, when you would have people sort of showing what was going on in satire, in the old funny operas. Comedy, humor has always been a way for people to reflect without it being super painful. It's a wavy mirror at the fun house. It's a way to show people something without it being brutal or stark or painful.
that's interesting because that wavy mirror at the funhouse, we can also look at that wavy mirror, listening to the comedy, and say, "Hey, that's me too."
Of course.
Because the wave helps us to see, there's a commonality here.
And it's a deflection. Like, how many times have you gone through a fun house as a kid in a cheap Midway, maybe at your high school, raising money for something?
Or in the movie Grease.
Yeah, and it's funny. It's funny.
Yeah,
You look funny. And it if you're a little bit chubby or you've got a receding hairline or whatever it is about you don't like, in a wavy mirror, you're like, it takes the sting out. Comedy takes the sting out.
Yes.
I used to tell people, my closer back in the 90s was, if I've made you think, that's great. I like to make people think. But if I've made you laugh, that's better, because laughter is the salve that keeps reality from scarring.
Oh, yes.
That used to be my close.
Yes. Because for me, I love to laugh. And as you know,
And you're a great laugher.
Oh, I love to laugh. It's very healing for me. I just went through a grief process, and I have to say.
I mean, you didn't just went.
Well, I'm
for the
going through
record.
it.
Yeah, you're right smack in the middle of it.
But the interesting thing is how much I just want to genuinely laugh. And I watch kind of body humor sometimes because I just want to escape.
American Vandal.
Like American Vandal. I know. I was going to say I didn't want to bring that up, but you said you didn't watch crime shows, but you turned me on to one.
Hilarious.
That was
Mockumentary.
Pure hilarity.
But even when you and I are together as friends, I find that you're an easy laugh, and that even little things like me texting you, let me know where you're parked so I can go dent your car.
But that's funny. That was just genuinely funny.
Yeah,
I
you're
don't know
a good
that was a
laugher.
little thing.
You're a good laugher, and I like look, it's like anything else. I always tell people comedy's a lot like sex. If the other person is receptive, you get better. You're like, oh, you thought that was funny? Watch this.
That is very interesting because with sex, I mean, in a piece of advice I often give, this is maybe a little bit different than that. Because with sex, people often, talk to me. They don't talk to me about what great lovers they are. They talk to me when they're
I could
well,
fill a
I
show
mean,
with
but
that.
they don't want to spend money to talk about that. They do that on their off time.
You would think.
But what they do spend money on is they come to me because they're having some sort of sexual anxiety.
Not great sex.
Not great sex. And they're usually worried about their own performance in some particular way. Mm-hmm. A generic piece of advice I give to people that I don't always read in, I have seen versions of this more recently, but I don't always read in the old sexual treatment literature, is to focus on pleasing yourself, which is twisted advice. Because if somebody then gets out of trying to please somebody else, but just gets up there, and instead of worrying about pleasing the other person, is sort of like sitting in the grandstands and trying to make the band play better. Instead, I have them get down into the parade and play with the band. Like, get in there and...
The bonaphone.
Get in there and play with the music.
I'm sorry, I'm a 12-year-old.
Yeah, no, that's good.
The skin flute.
But it's really quite the opposite. So it makes me to take that all the way back around. If I say, to please yourself in sex, that usually helps people get over some humps, so to speak, or, into the hump. But it usually helps them in different ways.
I just had this conversation yesterday with a girl.
Oh, what?
About how I'm amazing in bed.
See, you didn't your off time.
Yeah. She's a girlfriend, and I told her about one of my suitors, and she was like, "And you can't just be a starfish?" I didn't even know what that meant. I said, "What's a starfish?" She says, "That's when you just kind of lay there, like starfish don't move." And I'm like, "No." And then we were just joking around, right? But I wasn't so joking. So here's what I'm going to tell you about being a comedian and being a lover, because they're not terribly different. When you're on stage, at least when I'm on stage, I'm watching my audience.
Yes,
I'm watching them for cues.
You are.
This group's not laughing that hard. Let me look at them. Let me bring them in on this next setup. So I'm very present the entire time I'm on stage.
That you are.
Right. I'm present. I know who's laughing, who's not laughing, what they're feeling. I'm vibing on them. Sometimes I'll say, "Hey, you guys in the back row, I can't see you, but I can feel you." And I do mean that. So when you're having any sort of physical contact with another human being that's supposed to be pleasurable, we can just take it out of from the waist down. Like, remember the base system, above the waist, below the waist, all that business. Here's the thing. When people are married or in a long-term committed relationship or whatever, and I have been in those relationships, you now presume that that's another thing on your checklist of I'm with this person, we should have sex X amount of time, and or whatever, or we turn into roommates, whatever the presumption is about a long-term relationship with another human being. The vast majority of people, pardon my analogy, it's like rocket ships. Like when we first went to the moon, how exciting. By Apollo whatever, people are like, "Yeah, we're going to the moon again." And then, but what happens is the rocket ship goes up, right? It's all fire. Woo! Thrust. Woo! Then it goes sideways and all that fire falls off the back, literally, and you have the capsule. How do you keep things going when you're at capsule phase? And I've never been particularly good at that, so I'm going to be very honest with you.
Capsule phase?
Yeah, I'm getting better at it.
I think it's the trajectory is just going. Then
right.
You've got to go.
Then you keep going. But here's what I will tell you.
You follow the flow.
I cannot, and this is what I told my friend on the phone yesterday. I said, I cannot do something because it's expected of me. I cannot do it because it's part of a checklist.
Oh my God, you and I are the same.
If I'm in the sack with you, it's because I really want to be there.
Yeah.
And you are tripping my trigger. And I've been with people that I felt that way about them for a very, very, very long time. And that was exciting. I had what I call a good run. But that being said, no, I did. I had a very good run. But that being said, if I'm there, whether it's, we're going for the full 2-point takedown, or we're just making out and heavy petting because I'm not ready for the 2-point takedown. I was telling my friend, I said, when you're having sex with somebody, stare them in the eye.
Yeah.
Because sex is a drug. Literally, their pupils will dilate.
Yeah.
Like if you're in the
You're right.
sack, forget like all the little twitches and movements and things people do when something feels good. That's super obvious. But how frequently do you have the courage to just stare someone in the eye while you're doing something to them? Because you'll see it. You don't even have to feel it. You can see in the eyes if you're doing it right.
Well, and what you're talking about to me is the same thing you're doing on the stage, which
Exactly.
is absolute connection.
Connection,
with somebody.
intimacy.
And that is the key.
Intention.
Because when they are focused on just pleasing the other person, they're out of that connection. Then
Sex
it's just
is
about
invisible.
them. Yes, that's exactly right.
Sex is invisible.
So I guess comedy's invisible too.
It's 100%. It's a feeling. Sex is a feeling. Comedy's a feeling. The feeling right before it triggers you to laugh. A laugh is almost like a teeny tiny orgasm. It's a release. That felt so good.
And you feel absolutely connected with a comedian. I always do when I'm at your shows.
Thank
always. And I know you. So I've seen your routine, etc. And it always changes a little
Thank
bit.
you.
So there's that. But what's interesting is that I still feel like I'm an audience member.
Because I love my audience.
Yes.
And I'm so grateful they're there.
And I feel like an audience member in a good way.
I know what you mean.
Like if I were a friend, then I'd feel disconnected. I'm like, oh, when's she done? She's going to be done in 20 minutes.
And then
Great.
we can go eat gelato.
Yeah, but that would be awful. It's the same as that to me is what playing in the band is about. Like you're there, you're connected, you're
It's
part
intention.
of the music. You're part of it. And yes, and so that's the thing I give the advice about is to get out of trying to please them, be in your own head, be okay about you and reach out and connect. And that's what it is. Play with the band.
Life is an energetic intention. All day, every day, it is my intention to uplift, to bring joy, to comfort, to when another human being crosses my path, it is an opportunity for me to be me. That's how I see it. I mean, you know that I always say The Matrix was a documentary. If I now operate under the assumption, I'm never quite sure where to use which one of those, that if someone is in my movie,
I guess there might be a presumption, but you can make an assumption there.
yeah, that if
I don't really know.
okay, I don't think it matters. That if someone is in my movie,
Yeah.
if you showed up at this point, from this point of my life forward, from the Monique Marvez is no joke era start, going forward, if you're in my movie, that I want you there. There's a reason you're there. I am going strength to strength. I am no longer in the remedial human class. I am in AP human course now. And every single thing that shows up in my curriculum is just an opportunity to be amazing.
You know what? I never. I was going to say something else.
Do
but
it.
But no, I never feel like I am in class with you. That's an interesting thing.
Because we're not.
I guess not.
You're my mirror. I've said this before, and if this sounds intimate, I tell you all the time, you're me in boy. You're my mirror. The fact that you and I have become such close friends.
Except I'm not funny.
And
Like, well,
you're
I'm not
very funny.
Well, not
Oh
or
my
as wise
God,
or
you're
as good
funny.
looking. Oh my God, Monique.
And you are as good looking. You're very handsome, and you know this, but I'll say it again. But that being said, when the fact that I look at you and I see somebody with an enormous heart, with an absolutely incorruptible internal, the way you move through the world, your intention to do the right thing and take the high road is actually in some ways better than mine. And I consider myself pretty up there in moral compass, but yours is like incorruptible. Your North Star of decency.
I do like that you said intention and not always behavior.
Well,
Because the truth is, I judge myself a lot for when I don't take exactly what I think would be the highest road.
look, you're human. You're going to do stupid stuff. We all do. But your intention, your moral compass, the way you take care of yourself, like when we hang out, I don't ever have to say, let's keep walking. Like when you and I hang out, it's a competition to see who's going to close Disneyland. Like,
So
who's
true.
going to close the park? You're like, the first time we went, you said, all of my friends say that they're going to stay till midnight and they never do and they get tired. And you were kind of throwing down the gauntlet. Like,
I didn't mean to.
But you did. You threw down the Disneyland gauntlet. Guess what? We left the park 11:57. 11:57. Call me a liar for 3 minutes.
True.
But that being said, you meet the world with a gusto, with a kindness that when I hang out with you, I'm like, if this is my bestie, and I don't even like the term ride or die, I call it ride and live.
Yes.
Like you and I ride rides and we live. Like there's no talk of dying. There's been enough dying. Ride and live. When you and I are together, it's like we literally ride fun rides, and our conversations. Who hangs out for 15 hours and there's only silence when we're screaming? Who does that?
That's a great point. Anyway, I blame it all on you. Because I could be silent. I could allow myself to be silent. That wouldn't be a problem for me.
Yeah, well.
I blame it all on you because you're really interesting and you say interesting things, and it makes me want to say interesting things. Well, I don't know that I want to say interesting things back,
You
but
do.
I definitely want to flap my lips in front of you. It was the other thing I was going to say, and this might seem like a love fest, and I don't mean it to be, is that title, Monique Marvez is no joke, is really good.
I love it.
And especially, may I say, Brian loves it too, everyone. I especially have to say that because they had a Netflix campaign where they were doing Netflix is a joke. And they would promote these comedy specials by saying Netflix is a joke and so is a joke. And it never rang right with me. I'm like, I get what they're doing.
Right.
It just never rang right. Why it works better is that indeed you are funny. You do, in fact, tell jokes. I mean, I guess what they are.
Right.
But that you are serious.
Great comedy is serious
Huge.
business. Charlie Chaplin was not a shallow man.
No, incredibly deep. Yeah.
Absolutely. And that, it goes back to, you're a doctor, Freud's pleasure principle. You can only be as happy as you've been sad. Correct me. I know I'm paraphrasing it, but are we close?
No, not even. I don't know what that just was. It was a little ring ding.
That was Charlie Chaplin's spirit.
Oh, yeah, that's right. Saying hello from above.
I would love
Or
that.
all around us. I would rather feel surrounded.
Amen. Seriously, the think about it. Comedy is tragedy plus time.
Yes.
Meaning to be able to flip the script on something, to be able to look at something. I mean, look at the movie Life is Beautiful. Are you kidding me? Like this kid's in a, it's been out a long time, but I'm not going to spoiler alert it, but even still, because it's worth watching. But Life is Beautiful takes place in such a horrific setting, a Nazi concentration camp. The entire movie is a 2-hour setup to the most brilliant punchline in cinema. And when the guy won the Oscar for it, the fact that he jumped over chairs and go back.
I
Roberto
forgot
Benigni.
about
Yeah,
that.
I mean, just the way he got to the stage to
Yeah.
accept his. That's hilarious.
It was hilarious, but it was also so sweet and genuine.
And so him.
And so, I guess so him, but it made him seem less like a stiff person with a stick up their butt going to receive their Oscar and be like, oh my God.
He was a human.
It
like
was like Sally Field, you're about to
we
say.
were going there.
But she was a great human, and she actually was so genuine. People made fun of her because she said, "You like me, you really like me," but she was
imagine
vulnerable.
the gifs and memes that would come out if that was this year's Oscars.
Oh,
I mean,
yeah.
that was back in the day when it was just like analog when we saw it on the news and talked about it. But she won 2 Oscars. She won for Places in the Heart, and she she was the flying nun.
could have
She
won
was
more
Gidget.
even. Yeah, she was great.
And then all of a sudden, she comes out of nowhere and she gives us Norma Ray. Are you
Yeah,
kidding me?
That was amazing.
Beautiful. And that's exactly what I'm talking about. Something inside of her, something inside of all people. Because artists are blessed that we can make our internal landscape visible to other people. That's what all artists do. That's why I tell everybody, if you have a soul, but not everyone does, I guess. But if you have a soul,
That's true.
you can be an artist, because the only thing an artist has to think about is how to make their internal landscape visible to other people. That's it. And then you're an artist.
You know, you're interesting because you said you're the most right. You said this another time, that you're the most right brain person.
Oh, I'm so right.
So right brain. And what's interesting is to be a good artist, there's a lot about the right brain, but that is a right brain person.
I'm left-handed.
But it's also a person who has a lot of connection between left and right brain. And you do, because your verbal capacity is really, I love that I couldn't find the right word for talking about verbal capacity.
Thank you. How about exemplary?
I know, that was just funny to me.
I love words.
So you must have a great deal of connection in your corpus callosum, in the middle part of your brain.
Now we had to bring the big words
So you
out.
got the highway in between. You know, I hate psychologists when they bring brain science in.
No, I like brain science.
It isn't human, and it doesn't help us to change anything. When you say, oh, you had a release of cortisol, and that means you're stressed, blah, blah. I mean, like, forget that. So I want to talk in human terms, is that you don't just operate in the one part of the world. You operate in all parts of the world. So, and that's very apparent. And I think that's what a great comedian does, because they can take what they see and translate it for everyone who's there and then connect. That's why I've always loved comedians, and I have to look at my own journey in life, because I've always loved comedians. I think one reason I became a psychologist, probably mostly because of my brother, but a reason that I used to cite always, and this is truth to this, is Bob Newhart. We talked about that on a previous show.
Really, yeah. Emily? Really?
The Bob Newhart show, where he played a psychologist. But I also was so attracted to comedians, and that was always the case. I loved Flip Wilson. I loved
Geraldine.
Yeah, Geraldine. I used to have that album, and I'd wear it out.
The devil made me do it.
Yes.
I watched Geraldine when I was a little girl. I think I even told you this. I memorized Geraldine. I was like 6 years old.
So for those who don't know, Flip Wilson had a comedy show, but he had a character named Geraldine. He was literally a drag queen.
I think he might have been the first African American with his own variety show.
Really?
I think he may have been.
And he was so brilliant.
Hilarious.
And he had this drag queen character, Geraldine. And I also Bill Cosby, we talked the other day about, like, I used to love the album Why Is There Air?
Yeah, I have to my brother Russell, who I slept with. I have that on vinyl.
Oh, God.
Go Chicken Heart.
And I loved his cartoon show when we were kids too. Yep. So, you know, these comedians really influenced me a lot when I was young, and I have to look at the role they played in my life, because I wouldn't say I grew up in like a comedy atmosphere. It's just that I got it from the media.
I got it from my father. My father was, I like to say, Hispanic depressive, but my father my father struggled with depression.
Yeah.
That being said, he introduced me to comedy. He loved comedy. And we had like comedy albums and even routines. Like, my father and I got to the point where we didn't have to do the whole bit. Woody Allen has a bit called, I don't even know what the bit is called, but he talks about, the opening line is, I shot a moose. Because the bit is that he was out on his way to a party in the Hudson Valley. I'm paraphrasing this horribly. And a moose gets in his way, or maybe it's I hit him. Anyway, so he ties the moose to his car on his way to a costume contest. The moose comes back to life, gets loose, goes into the party. It competes in the costume contest against a Jewish couple who are dressed as a moose. And the couple wins, and the moose gets angry. It's the stupidest, most absurd bit. It's like the Rosenfelds dressed as a moose. The moose is angry. They clash horns. Like, the thought of a Jewish couple in a moose suit fighting with a real moose that got loose off the roof of somebody's car.
It's funny
it's
just talking
beyond.
about it.
So when my father was depressed, when I could see the light dimming in his eyes, all I had to do was look at him and say, I shot a moose. We spoke in comedy shorthand. I had all of Geraldine. She had a boyfriend. Geraldine had a boyfriend.
Oh,
named
yeah,
Killer.
Yes, I know Killer.
And
yes.
she would say, my boyfriend Killer is so cool, he does not butter his toast. He butters his lips and slides the bread in.
Yeah.
Yeah, and he used to always, when he was going to tell people to meet him, he'd say, "Meet me in the booth, in the back, in the corner, in the dark." Remember?
Yes.
I had, as a child, I used to do a variety show into a salt shaker. I would pretend to be Cher. I would tell jokes, and that was what my father and I shared.
I loved those shows. I can't even tell you all those
Captain and
variety shows.
Tennille.
Captain and Tennille.
With Shields and Yarnell.
I met Captain and Tennille
Did you?
at Disneyland
Daryl
where I
Dragon.
worked. Oh my God. And
Tony Tennille.
I love them so much, and I wanted to gush over them, but they were having a fight, and they kept having a fight. I did talk to them.
He never talked, Daryl Dragon. He always wore like little glasses and his captain
Oh, he
hat.
never talked. He talked a little bit on his show, but like 3 words. But I would say he didn't read that way in person.
Right.
He was just.
And Tony Tennille was a mega talent, and I loved her, so I got my
So
hair cut in a
amazing.
bowl like her.
Oh yeah.
I think the 8 is Enough guy even liked Tony Tennille because he had the same haircut.
Too funny.
I
You mean Adam
digress.
Rich?
Yeah. Remember he had the same
Yes,
bowl haircut.
exactly.
I had that haircut in 8th and 9th grade.
Good.
All my friends had the Dorothy Hamill camel.
Oh, yeah.
But I went with the Tony Tennille bowl.
Oh yeah, I loved it. I loved her. I thought she was amazing. But so that's the origin of your comedy. I mean, in so many ways, you use comedy to connect and to heal from day one. Then.
Absolutely.
And that explains why you do it today. You've just taken that pearl and grown it over time.
Absolutely. It's a big ass pearl.
It's a big
I
ass.
don't even think you could put it on a necklace.
You know,
yeah.
Yeah, that's right. It's going to weigh you down, but that's a good thing. But that's the thing about, I just have to think about being a comedian on stage because I know about being an audience member. And I love going to comedy shows because I feel so connected, not just with the comedian, but with everyone in the audience as we're all laughing together. And there's a magic in a live comedy show versus watching it
Absolutely.
on Netflix or something. I mean, Netflix has great specials, but I'm not putting them down. But what I am saying is that when you're in a live space and you connect with everyone around you and everyone's laughing, there's something so cathartic about it.
Absolutely.
I always feel elevated after
Mass
the
consciousness.
experience.
It's the reason why people go to concerts versus listen to a record.
Oh, and I love concerts too.
Me too. Because you feel, in fact, I listen to live music when I want to do something. When I want to go to when I want to go to yoga and I'm tired, I make myself listen. Are you ready? There's a version of Dave Matthews. Can't tell you. It's a live version of him doing All Along the Watchtower, and then it blends. It goes back and forth between All Along the Watchtower and Stairway to Heaven, and the transitions go back and forth, and it's about an 11-minute unbelievable power jam with guitar solos like you never heard. And it's live at like Red Rocks or wherever it is. Yeah. It's on YouTube. And when I listen to that, first of all, the song All Along the Watchtower is a level of songwriting haiku genius because there's hardly any words in it at all. But All Along the Watchtower was written by Bob Dylan, made popular by Jimi Hendrix. There must be some kind of way out of here, said the Joker to the thief.
Oh yes.
And then it's got biblical references. When I hear that, I mean the song, no reason to get excited. The song just builds, and that energy of that live performance, I'm like, okay, I can go to yoga now.
Wow.
But if it were on a record and it was just a jam session studio, I love live albums. When I was in 11th grade, I spent my allowance to buy Donna Summer Live and More, recorded at the Universal Amphitheater.
Have we ever talked about this? Because that Donna Summer Live and More album was one of my all-time favorites. There is one recorded side.
Cover photo.
There is one studio side.
Who cares? There's 3 live ones.
3 live. And it is, but the whole thing is a work of art. I even love I thought that was a complete work of art.
Baby, please don't take the
Yes,
from
yes.
me. Brooklyn Dreams, Bruce Sedano.
And that was actually the first concert I went to at the Hollywood Bowl was Donna Summer Bad Girls, and they do her. I
saw that concert.
Show. Yeah, and
she had smoke from dry ice coming out through her legs.
Yeah, and you
because I was with my dad, and my dad was like a little. Ooh.
Oh, it was a nasty show, and here I was, 15 years old, going, "Oh my God!"
Yeah, I was. Well, we're very close in age, so yeah. and I think I'm a year older than you, but we were a year and a week. So we were. I remember when she's singing, hot stuff and like smoke, like dry ice, and she was amazing. But that Donna Summer Live and More, that's the stuff. Like you listen to that
Perfection.
now, the opening piano strains of MacArthur Park, you're like, oh, it's going to go down.
Yeah,
It's
yeah.
going down.
Yeah. Well, the thing is, that's another thing with music. Everything's become so curated now. Everything's become so synthesized and produced. I don't like it. And the only stuff I really, really love are the things that are more rough. And like the folk music movement that's happening right now, I think is very compelling and very interesting because really some great
Mumford
stuff
and Sons.
coming out.
I like
Yeah.
Mumford and Sons.
And there are all kinds of great examples. And I have to say that for me, it's like that's why I like a live comedian. I like certain live music. I don't want to be like with a bad band in a restaurant and I'm straining to have a conversation with somebody. It's the only time I really don't like live music. But I love to go to a concert venue and hear, from an artist where I'm focused all on them.
And now I'm at the age where it becomes a form of nostalgia.
Yeah.
It's not just the artist, and it's not even just the music. There's a historical, because I say time is circular and not linear, but there's an attachment to the particular. When I was on KFI, I just got an email the other day that reminded me of this, that when Glenn Campbell passed.
KFI was like the biggest radio station, just for anyone who doesn't know. It was
west of the Mississippi. Yeah.
Yeah, it was,
actually was
a mammoth.
They called it the
station.
Border Blaster because you could hear it all the way to Vegas and almost to Mexico on a clear night. So
Oh, I would think you could hear it in Mexico.
yeah, it was big.
Yeah.
And also when you have a 3-letter like in New York, WOR or KFI, those are legacy stations instead of 4 letters.
I didn't know that.
Big stations. That being said, when I was on KFI, the weekend after Glenn Campbell died, I was going to do a tribute to Glenn Campbell, and I had it all set up because I love him and I grew up listening to him, and my dad loved him, and et cetera, et cetera. And so my producers all queued up. It might have been Tony. And all I heard was the opening, dun 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 to Wichita Lineman. I couldn't stop crying. There was dead air. I couldn't stop crying. And to this day, fans will remind me, remember when you did the show with Glenn Campbell and you couldn't stop crying? Because I kept saying, I didn't think this was going to happen, but I'm sorry. I mean, I'm on after about 5 seconds of dead air, I had to explain, like, I'm crying because Glenn, but it wasn't just Glenn Campbell. It was like my childhood, listening to him in the car with my dad. Like I was racked because every time I see these I just went and saw a Joyful Noise. When Neil Diamond can no longer tour. That's why
That's the play about Neil
Diamond.
Yeah.
That's why he approved the making of A Joyful Noise.
And I will say I saw it too, and the lead is unbelievably good.
Yeah.
As Neil Diamond.
Here's what I believe about art.
Yeah.
Which is life made visible, is that when an artist is in alignment with their intention and with a higher calling, as you say, that for lack of a better term, there's ink mixed with blood. Their blood, their sweat, their tears is mixed with the ink of whatever it is they're writing or whatever the paint is. And I've always loved Neil Diamond. I grew up with my dad having the 8-track, which I still own, of Hot August Night. But my favorite Neil Diamond song is Shiloh.
Oh, yeah.
And when you see A Joyful Noise, they tell you the backdrop of the backstory of Shiloh. And Shiloh was the backdrop soundtrack when my brother William, my remaining brother, I have, as you know, I also lost a brother. My brother William and I always spoke in music. We would call each other. Remember answering machines with tiny tapes?
Of course.
We would call each other, and we wouldn't say, hey, call your brother or call your sister. I would call my brother and go, Shiloh, when I was young. And that meant call me. And he would call me back, and he would say, I used to call. Like, we had a thing where we would use snippets of music
to communicate.
To let you know.
Yeah.
Yeah, because it was our childhood.
I think this is the whole thing, is to bring it all the way back, because it's all about connection.
Amen.
And in the connection, we could call it love, which I do believe that is what love
Ultimately
truly is us all being connected. It's ultimately, years ago I came to, I kept asking, what's the purpose of life? And to my own understanding,
Astonishment.
To my own astonishment, it was really that all humans are here to connect. And that being completely separate is an ill of society. And we see that.
It's an illusion. It's not even an ill. You
Yeah.
got the 3 first letters right. It's an illusion. We're not separated. Michael Jackson, rest in peace. You're just another part of me. There is no them there. You're just. And this is how I illustrate it. When I worked as a hostess in a restaurant many years ago, do you remember smoking and non-smoking sections?
Of course.
I'm like, yeah, like the smoke knows to stay there. Like the smoke isn't going to go hover over your Dover soul. I got news for you. It's everywhere.
Yeah.
And that's how we are. It's not just here. And one of the things I love about, as I'm fond of calling them, the kids, which is everybody under 30, they get that in a way that our generation was talked out of. And the way our parents' generation and their parents.
Especially our generation, because that was the greed is good generation.
Greed is good. Every man for himself. Look out for number one.
Making a reprisal right now. And that's.
It is.
Maybe the young will save us, but the oldsters are still trying to bring it back.
I got news. You are correct. And then obviously the, quote unquote greatest generation that were groomed to go to war.
Yeah.
That was what they did.
They gave.
World War I,
They
World War
gave.
II, Korea, the ultimate sacrifice, Vietnam.
They gave.
Like, yes, I get what an honorable sacrifice so many people made. But can we maybe start to move in a direction where that's not necessary?
I hope so.
Yeah. Wow, we went from jokes to like all of a sudden, wow. Let's
So,
bring it back up again, Greg.
Well, we need
Dr.
to wrap it up.
Oh, what?
I know. I'm completely blown away. But yeah, I think it's about connection, about love. And I was going to want to talk about empathy, but I didn't even need to, because that's what the whole show has ultimately been about jumping into someone else's shoes and understanding what goes on and the connection we all share.
Amen.
So thank you for joining me on Off the Couch. If you saw yourself in any of today's patterns, that's because Monique she's a woman for all people.
Thank you.
You're not broken. You're just a human. And remember, insight is the first step, but action is what moves the needle. And so does social support, and so does laughter. So go see a show. Go see Monique Marvez.
Please.
You're going to be playing very soon in Las Vegas.
Yeah.
Las Vegas. I'm sorry.
I'm at
Palm Springs.
Palm Desert.
Palm
I'm
Desert.
at the McCallum. Please come see me at the McCallum Theater.
Beautiful
Maybe Brian can
theater.
post a link.
Yeah.
I'm excited about it.
Don't forget to rate, review, and follow Off the Couch with Dr. Greg on Apple, Spotify, or wherever you listen. Hit us up on socials at Ask Dr. Greg and at Monique Marvez.
Correct.
Yes, definitely subscribe to Monique. She's red hot.
A lot of comedy.
A lot of
lot of
comedy,
clips.
a lot of red hotness.
Thank you.
Until next time, be present, be flexible, and be kind.